Welcome back, everybody. The biggest fear for most people can be public speaking. But one man is trying to change this. He used to be terrified of it, and now he's a pro. Joining us now is Peng Joon. He is an internationally renowned speaker and infopreneur to tell us more about his new book. Peng, thanks so much for being here. Good morning. So you're a pro now, but let's go back like a decade ago. You were originally terrified to speak publicly. What were you doing at the time?
Well, being a shy, introverted kid pretty much my entire life, I've always feared public speaking. But one thing that held me back was the inability to communicate to the masses. So because of that fear of being on camera, because I feared being in front of people, doing presentations, I realized that the next advancement to my career was if I could master speaking, communicating effectively, being in front of groups of people. So I started practicing small groups of people, 30 people, 50 people, and I just kept on going, and eventually I became good at it.
And you talk about your line of work at one point. You were in a line of work where you felt that public speaking was going to advance your own career. You talk about that specifically?
100%. So I was marketing online, and one of the things you want to do to market online, to market effectively, is to be able to create a message and put it on a sales video, on a Facebook page, on a webinar, and that's basically communicating to the masses. But even then, I was shy on camera. I felt like, but what if somebody looks at my message or my video, and what if I get some troll hater comment? And I had this fear holding me back. So my entire life, because I had this introverted side of me, I always felt like that was a very, very scary thing to do. But eventually, I read the books, I attended the seminars, I went to the workshops, I just kept practicing in front of the camera, in front of the mirror, and eventually I overcame this fear.
I think it's something interesting you were telling me during the break is how much that public speaking can be good at. We always think, oh, people are just natural at it or they're not, but this is a skill like anything else.
Like any skill in entrepreneurship, speaking is just one of the many skills out there that can be mastered through practice. And I think that you take a look at any person that has mastered their craft, I believe that the path to mastery, you've heard it before, it's 10,000 hours, right? Speaking is the same exact thing. Right. I think that when people have that fear of speaking, it's to understand that having that fear and being bad at it at first is really normal. Is that most people have that fear. It's just a question of, is that person willing to be bad at something in order to be eventually good at it? That's the question.
You brought up the 10,000 hour rule. It's a great example right there. So obviously it's a scary thing mentally, but also there's the physical symptoms, the dry mouth, the jitters, there's all of that. Now you've got a couple tips, and you talk about it in your book, but there's a couple tips you're going to share right now for people to maybe will help them become a better speaker. Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. The first thing, I think it's about fear. Most people never take the first step because the focus is on themselves. They think about all these different possibilities of what if I trip and fall? What if somebody throws a banana peel at me? And all these different, it's fear. It's false evidence appearing real. And that's number one. Number two is, if you take the focus from you and you focus on your audience instead, about thinking about what value can I give them? What is it that I want to do in that short presentation for them? You realize that you'll become a little bit more at ease because now the focus is not about you, but on the audience. And then the next one is about thinking about the context, not the content. That if you trying to memorize every single word you want to say, it's going to be really tough. But if you focus on the framework, the big picture, the talking points, and just fill it up by being conversational like what we're doing now instead, it becomes a whole lot easier.
All right, and so there's a lot of great information here, Peng, and if people want to learn more about you, because he's shared the stage with Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, who's a great public speaker as well. I mean, you up there with the best of them. If people want to learn more about you and learn how they can get your books, where do they go?
All you do is go to platformclosing.com. I talk about how can you master and overcome this fear.
All right, Peng, thank you so much. Peng Joon, everybody, definitely check out his work. Again, it's something I had to overcome too, the fear of public speaking, and it's a fear a lot of us have. So.